What's up, everybody? It's your favorite combining moments, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Hasbro Legacy Menasor, made up of the 5 Stunticons that were released independently and individually, of course. We're gonna go through this, we're gonna show how to transform the cars to get them ready for combine mode. Doesn't take a whole lot, spoilers, but we're gonna show it anyway, and then we're gonna take a look at Menasor. We've already taken a look at his accessories, so we can just get going. So the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. We'll start with breakdown, and it's really just a matter of opening up this top section here and then moving that back so that it looks sort of like an L, and then you can push that forward and plug in these 2 females to these 2 males, and that will also, I guess, push that forward while you do that. Get a side view to make sure that you're lined up properly. Boom. Nothing to it but to do it. Same for Wild Rider. We're gonna open up this windshield here. Bend this back. You can sit that back down. You want it to kind of sit into the L. And line it up. Plug it in. And of course it does also push these 2 gates forward. So it's not just a plug-in thing, like it has at least a mechanism, which is cool. The arms are even simpler. You do have to collapse the 2 accordion pieces. And then when you push this on here, it will release the top and bottom sections. You gotta really have it on there though, so that you can then separate, extend, separate. Why is that not moving? There, extend. That'll sit in there, and then you can flip the tires back up. I'll try to back out a bit so you can see it maybe slightly better for this one. Once again, we're pushing in these 2 sections here. It's pegging in here, it's also pegging in there. You gotta really make sure it's on there for it to release. Then it should break right away. This accordion's out, which we've already shown in the Menasor video, and then this accordion's up, and then that closes, and that's your Menasor. I'll clean them up, we'll take a look at them. And we'll talk about the figure. And I think it's a pretty fair proportion thing. It definitely has a bigger upper body than a lower body. I wish that these were a little bit more condensed, maybe a little bit more shorter as well. I think that would have helped with the overall proportions, but I don't think it's bad. Face sculpt looks pretty good. Silver paint, red paint, fair enough. Head swivels. Does not really move back or forward, which is a bummer. Specifically down. Always nice to have big bots looking down. So that's a bummer. Waist, swivel, no ab crunch. Shoulders, universals, ratcheted around, hold great. Out to the side, 90 degrees at least, no problem. Not the best connection there either. You do get a bicep swivel right above the elbow. You get an elbow hinge that gets you 90 degrees. You get a wrist swivel. It's going to be the same on the other side. Just so you see. Deco-wise, there is some interesting stuff going on. So you have the lighter color painted here and here on both sides. Whoa, Nelly. You also have the purple accent on the pelvis, as well as the Decepticon symbol, and all that stuff does help kind of bring it to life, in my opinion. We'll get out to the side. For our hips, which are universals, soft ratchets and not the strongest in the world, but as you can see, they're holding just fine for the full Van Damme. Ratchets are much better forward and back for the full Monty. Thigh swivel. Knee hinge gets you 90 degrees. Ankles, No ankle tilt up, no ankle tilt down, but you do get a rocker. So all in all, you know, nothing necessarily exceptional, but all of the basics are cooked in, and the back is pretty clean. Let's move on to size comparisons. And there he is with masterpieces, chugs, legends, etc. to hopefully give you somewhat of an idea of scale. You know, and I think it's a decent enough scale. I think they did a decent job. And there is my little Stunnicon chug shelf with the Fans Project, Combiner Wars, and now the Legacy set. And then I got some little extra bits up here. A little custom from my boy Billy Fong. But yeah. Cool. Second time in the double digits this year. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. That Motormaster was 80 bucks, at least, depending on where you got it. Should have came with a proper gun and a proper sword for Menasor. The accessories look super dumb. I know you can get all sorts of third-party add-ons, etc., in order to fix it, but at the price point, it should have came. Fixed. It is pretty solid, but that being said, when you go to manipulate it, at least when I have had the arms pop off, as you saw during the articulation portion of the review, and even when I went to pose this pose, which is still somewhat awkward, I had the leg portion pop off from the thigh. Not the biggest deal in the world, and you can sort it out, but still it's worth noting as a criticism. I do find the yellow pegs and the black tires of drag strip distracting. I don't find it as distracting with the black pegs and the black tires of the bottom set of wheels. Articulation wise, I wish you could get them to look down more, and it would have been nice to have an ab crunch in there. Would have came in handy. Lastly, the connections between the accordion pieces of the arm have some weird tolerances. Some are too loose and have a tendency to come disconnected while you articulate the figure. Some are too tight and have a hard time sort of collapsing back in on themselves. Once again, very nitpicky, but worth mentioning. And lastly, it would have been nice to have the option to do something with the cars in the front of the legs. I feel like that could have been worked in somehow. Once again, just for the option. And I guess while we're on the subject, articulated hands would have probably come in handy as well. Handy. You see what look, stop it. Positives wise, it is sturdy. Hey. But in all honesty, very sturdy. Very stable, no balance issues, and looks pretty good. The overall presentation is certainly the best combiner that they've ever done, in my opinion. The articulation is basic, but it is in there, if only at a basic level. I do love the gimmicky elements of how to combine it, with the arm releasing the cars at the top and the cars pushing out the flaps at the bottom. It feels like it's meant to go together somehow. I can't describe exactly what I mean. Of course it's meant to go together, but it seems like believable, if that makes sense. Like that's how it would work in some way. Lots of ratchets and hardware all over the place. Some work better than others, to be fair, but there is a lot in there regardless. And like I said, decent sculpt, extra paint, like the stuff at the shoulders and the forearms really helps bring it home. The shins, to be fair, could benefit from a little bit more, but overall I think they did a really good job. Part of that is because one of the figures cost 80 bucks. Let's just be honest and get that out there. But I'm a fan of getting what you pay for, and I think this is a pretty solid set, so good on them. Well done. Could have really went the extra mile and sent this puppy all the way home, but at the very least, a very good effort. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.